this is going to be a quicker tutorial because it's only about UI kits and how to use them. So they are everywhere, but UI kits it's like a pre-designed collection of interface elements that it may take too long to replicate, such as buttons, input fields, icons, etc. They are kind of pre-made for you that you can use them. Okay, one thing that I need to emphasize with this is that obviously you have to customize these UI kits to your design. So there has to be some modification if you choose to use them. One of the things that you need to know before watching this tutorial is that to be able to use a UI kit properly, you need to have a good understanding of styles, components, and especially auto layout. So if you haven't watched the previous tutorials about these elements, go back and see them, because that's key to understand how to use the UI key. Every UI key that you will find online absolutely use at least auto layout and components and style. Okay, so the advantages of using it obviously is that sometimes for even low resolutions, digital low resolutions prototype, it can be a quick way to put something together just to test if I'm going in the right direction, and then you can just customize it in the way that works best for your project. Okay, so it can make things faster, and it definitely looks like it's going to get that is going to make everything faster. But there is a couple of things to be aware when you are using Figma UI kits. As I said, they are using components and styles and auto layout everywhere. So if you don't know how to use that, there may be things that you are trying to edit that it may be a little bit frustrating because you don't understand well what's happening. So one of the other disadvantages is that there is a limited customizations. The way to use them is basically kind of disattaching the kit from the parent components. So you can have complete freedom to design it on your own, which is something doable, but can be a little bit time consuming. And if you don't understand auto layout, etc., and you are trying to modify them and modify anything, it may be a little bit frustrating. So, and obviously, because you did not produce it, sometimes you need a little bit of time to understand what was the designer thinking when he produced it. You cannot access, when we watch the components, we talk a little bit about master components and child components. So the master of these UI kits, the master of the components that is using these UI kits are, it's Figma, okay? So you cannot access to them. You cannot see them, you cannot view them, because it's not you, it's completely locked. So that's one of the things that can take some time to be able to customize it, but you have a goal, you can use it as long as you modify it and you design your own version, that's fine. So this is a little bit of displaying where to find them. This is where we can find the UI kits, and I will show you now. So this is a page that is completely white, and this is just to see you how you can import the UI kits. They are already pre-made, and they are kind of fairly new. You will find them in the assets, right here at the left, at the top, in the assets, where the components are being saved. So I have some components already on this file. There are local assets, okay? So if you want to import these libraries, so you can click and add more libraries. For example, there is this little thing, there's this little drop-down menu that say, okay, current file, your team, so the teams, etc. And UI kits is the one that is kind of made by, this one is from Figma. This one is material design from Google. And this is for better suited for if you are designing an app, because it has the app elements and components here. So you just tick and add to file the one that you need to add. It doesn't cost to add all of them if you want to have a look. And then you closed it, and here they are. Okay, so if you click, you will see different elements that are very commonly used, and you can just import it and set, like, for example, this is a pagination, this is sections, and even if you click inside, okay, you will see it's like a title sort of thing. So you see cards, and this is different models of cards, and you may find one that suits better, and then you customize it in the best way. It even has examples on using them with different standard page. Okay, I'm going to use one of these. As you can see, I have used it in some of the examples that I have explained you below. This is example in about a page, an article, etc. Okay, and if you click, you will see even it has desktop, mobile, etc. And I want to stop a little bit to show you what is, to explain a little bit more about this bit, so I have a better understanding. You know, for example, that when you see my local components that I already created in my last tutorial, if I click here and I say the instance, you can select the different instance. So sometimes if you create a component that has more than one instance, you can use it in different ways. It doesn't have to have interaction. Like, for example, if you can insert only the one that is darker for some reason. So sometimes, for example, if you have a light mode of a card, or if you have a light and dark mode, you save it in the same object and use it as you need it. So that could be one example of using a component with more than one instance that doesn't has an internal interaction like the other. And that's a little bit, I hope that makes sense, by the way, because this is a little bit what happened if I'm going to insert an accordion item, for example, and then you say closed, open, more advanced, obviously, and light and dark. So it's a way to have a better control of the overall style of the app or the website that you are working on. Okay, so if, for example, if I am working on the mobile and I want to see examples, and examples is, okay, let's see this one, and then you have the desktop platform and the mobile platform. Okay, and this is different. You see the light, this light, responsive, and size is default. And then you say, okay, insert, and it just goes and plays it. Okay, all of these elements that are placed in are components, and they have limited customization unless you break the component from its parent component. If I come back to files where all the layers are located, so you can see how they organize it. So all of these are components. The best way to do, how do I know if something is part of a parent component or not? If I go here and I say, okay, take me to the main component, like we did last time, it's just going to take me straight to the Figma community. And nothing, you cannot access to these elements, you just can import them. So you cannot modify the parent components, obviously. And this is a little bit how large websites work. It's a parent, like a parent components, and that controls how it's going to be used. If I want to detach this one because I want to change it completely, you can always say detach instance, and then you can do whatever you want. You are kind of divorcing this element from its parent component, and now you have the freedom to do whatever you want. How do I know if an element is part of a component or not? And that is, you see how it's purple? Everything that is purple is a component. So that can be, this attaching it can be a little bit time consuming. Okay, like if I select all of them, Command A, selecting, and then detach instance. Yeah, it's just like that could be one quick way, but there are child components as well, so that you can also have to, but you recognize them again, another one, and so on and so on. So you recognize them because those that are purples are part of a component. And all of them, as you can see, are using auto layout. So sometimes if you don't know about the auto layout and you try to move it, it could be very frustrating because you are not understanding on what is happening. Okay, but there is not only parent components as well. Is that there is a parent style guide that is being used for these components. For example, if I go to this text, right? Let's say that I want to take this text. Let me see. Okay, another component is purple. Select 3. Detach. Okay. You see how, if you don't know about style guide and I try to edit the text, this is going to be a little bit frustrating because I'm not understanding why I don't have all the options available here. So that's because it belongs to a different, a parent style guide that of course you will not have access to. So again, you can detach and detach, and you see all of these. So that can be a little bit time consuming if you want to the field, everything is part of a parent style. And that's what I said, sometimes it can take time. And sometimes things are happening that you don't understand why it is happening. It's because you did not create it. I have found myself starting with these components, and at the end I realized that I took more time changing it in a way that I needed it than if I had created myself. So that is up to you on how you want to proceed with that, but you need to customize it. But it can be really handy. It can be handy to see how to choose kind of an overall layout, how it will look, and that is up to you. The size that they come by default, again, element is part of, yep, another, and all of these are style guides. So, yeah, it can take a while to actually detach everything. Another thing is that you see the size, and it's 375. Sometimes because you did not create it, when you want prototype and preview, you may not know. Let's see, what is the preview look like? It may not be one of the ones that you see. It's just not, okay, that's fine. But okay, I did not create it. Now I have to adjust. And I normally, I don't know you, but I forget which size I chose before. Because I didn't create it, I don't know what is this, which one I'm going to choose. So 375. So that is something to be aware. 370. So I have to see the number is this one. iPhone X. Okay, and if that should work well. Yep. It changed it. Didn't need to be refresh, but it changes. So that's something that you need to be aware of, because you didn't create it. Can be a little bit like, okay, how is this working? Another thing that can be time a little bit frustrating, it was for me, I'm going to create another page. See, I'm going to duplicate it. Well, for the desktop, okay, and I'm going to go to the library again. I'm going to select in the examples, and I'm going to click in About, and I am going to select the desktop version instead. Let me try to see if I select dark. So I select Insert, and the same. All of these are components. And the width is 1200, and the prototype has to be 1200 as well. In the desktop, I have to select 1200 and go up there. I have to find, and there is no, and there is none of them. And that was something that I did the first time that I used it. I discovered a bit too late, because I started to detach the component, do my own style, etc. And I didn't know that it didn't match. So the problem with that is that the preview is not going to match what I want. So if I select this one, for example, and I click preview, then you see it's not going to look the way you want it. So I discovered that a little bit too late, which was quite frustrating. Then I had to adjust. I do not know why this doesn't match any of the prototypes. That is a question that I would love to ask, but just put a warning there. That's what happened to me. Yeah, you can modify the width until it matches, or you can simply say no device. That's fine. You know, that's what I end up doing it. But I wanted the shiny because it was for a client. I wanted the shiny desktop, but yeah, that's what I had to end up doing. So something that you also have to be mindful when you are using these UI kits, okay? So that's going to be it for this one. It was just, as I said, it was going to be a quick one, but it's just to have to explain. And if you are going to use this one, have a better understanding of what you need to know before, how to use them, and what you have to be aware of, okay? Well, guys, thank you. See you next time. Bye.